guys, and welcome to my channel. If you guys are subscribers and you've been following me, you know a little bit about my story and my crazy life that I've had up until I met my husband, of course. But today I wanted to go over a little story of something that happened to me when I was 14 years old. So I figured I would go ahead and vlog about it and let you guys know. So Natalia wanted to come and get in on the video with me. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
So she's going to be sitting here for a little bit with me while I talk about it. I don't keep nothing from my kids. I'm very open and honest in everything, because I feel like if you're not open and honest with your kids, then they're going to grow up sheltered and not know what really goes on in the world. And I want them to know what I went through so that they know how strong I've tried to be for them. Right? So when I was 14 years old, I went with my stepdad to go to the mall. And as most of you guys know, my mom and my stepdad were on drugs. They were on crack cocaine at the time. And a lot of crazy stuff happened during that time. But anyways, I went to the mall with them. And we were in a van, and there was two guys driving. Me, my stepdad, and this other guy was in the van. And, oh, because I looked at her, she got mad. I love you.
No.
I love you.
No, because you did it.
Oh, because your arm got in my way. I'm sorry. I love you.
Good, scratch.
I love you.
Love you.
Oh, it's okay. So there was me, another guy, and my stepdad in the back seat. Now, the two that were driving were guys that lived upstairs from us, because we lived in half a house, so we were downstairs and they lived upstairs, and they also happened to be drug dealers. So they were driving this van. So we go to the mall. It's about 8:30 at night, and we're sitting in the van, and everyone's like talking, and two people had went in, my stepdad and the guy that was in the back seat, and they came back out with bags. I don't know what they did. I think they stole something or used a credit card or whatever. I don't know. But so we were going to leave, and we were pulling out of the mall, and as we were pulling out, a police car pulled in front. A police car pulled on each side of the van, and one pulled in back, and the cops jumped out of the car, and they were like, "Stop, freeze, get out of the car," blah, blah, blah. They were screaming and cussing, and I was just like sitting there like, what the hell is going on? So the cops come up to the car, up to the van, they start to take everybody out. What? What?
You scratched my finger.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You okay? All better now? Okay. So the cops come up to the van, and they start telling everyone, "Get the F out, get the F out right now." So we all get out of the car, and I see them patting everybody down, and I'm standing there, and the cop's like, "Well, she's over 18 years old," and blah, blah. And I turn around like, I'm only 14 years old, and I only came to ride with my stepdad. So like, it was really crazy. So the other guy that was in the back of the van with us was getting arrested, and they pulled out counterfeit money, and the counterfeit money had the dude's face on him, so it was like hella funny, and he was a crackhead too, so it was crazy that he did that. So he went to jail for that. Then as they're patting my stepdad down, and I'm sitting there watching them, they asked him if he had any drugs or paraphernalia on him. What? You want to color? Okay, go color. Okay, so Natalia went to color. So anyways, like I was saying, I was sitting there, and I noticed that they were patting my stepdad down, and they asked him, did he have any drugs or paraphernalia or anything on him, and he told them no. So the cop reached in his pocket and pulled out a glass pipe. And if anybody knows what what you smoke crack out of, it's a glass pipe that's like yay big. And no, I don't smoke crack. I only know that because that's what my parents used when they smoke crack, because they did used to smoke it in front of me. So they pulled the crack pipe out of his pocket, and it was rolled in toilet paper, and they opened it, and they were like, oh, well, here's drug paraphernalia. You lied to us, and blah, blah, blah. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I use that to wipe my ass when the toilet paper ain't working. My stepdad was a jokester, so he joked about everything, and he was drunk off his ass at this time, too. So again, I'm just sitting there, everyone's getting arrested, and then the cop goes, well, do you have somebody that can pick you up? And I was like, let me try to call my house. So I was trying to call my house from the police officer's phone, and nobody was answering, of course, because my mom was never nowhere to be found at that time. So they're like, well, we're gonna have to take you down to the police station until somebody can pick you up. And I'm like, great. I don't have family up here. There's nobody that's gonna pick me up. My mom don't have a car. She's not even home. She's out doing drugs or whatever it is that she's doing. So my stepdad had like all these cartons of cigarettes in the van. So I hurried up and came up with a quick lie. You shouldn't lie. But I hurried up and came up with a quick lie, and I was like, hey, can I get the cigarettes out of the van because they're my mom's and I gotta take them home to her. They're like, yeah, sure. So we get down to the police station, and I'm sitting at the desk, and they had put my stepdad in a room with a whole bunch of other people that were drunk. I guess that's like a room they take people when they're drunk for them to sober up or whatever. And all you hear is him in there yelling and making jokes and stuff like that. And the police officer was like, that's your stepdad? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, it's a shame. And I was like, I know, because it's embarrassing. I'm 14 years old, and going through something like that is just crazy. They ended up releasing the two guys that drove the van and that lived upstairs from me, and they asked the police officers if they could take me home since they lived there, and they were like, no, you can't take her home because you're not her parents, you're not biological guardians or anything like that. So they couldn't take me home. So here I am, still stuck, trying to call my mom. No answer. The police officers have left messages on our voicemail at home, and I'm just stuck. So like 2 hours later, I had already been there like 4 hours, so like a total of 6 hours went by, and a cop comes in and they go, hey, your sister Chantel is gonna come pick you up. So in my mind, I don't have no sisters. I have 8 brothers, but no sisters. I have my best friend Gloria, who's my sister, but back at that time, I didn't know her. I call her my sister. So I'm thinking, like, I don't have any sisters, but I'm not saying anything because I don't want them to know that, because I just want to get out of there. So I come to remember Chantel. She's a black girl, so they're going to see her pick me up and be like, black girl, Spanish girl. Black girl, Spanish girl. What's going on? But I didn't even care. And Chantel used to be a drug dealer at the house that we used to have when my mom was selling drugs out of the house. But me and her became really close, and she became like a big sister to me, and she helped me through a lot of things when my mom was on drugs and stuff. But I'll save that for another story time. But so they finally came and picked me up. All she had to do was show an ID, and they released me to her. I was like, thank God, because I got tired of sitting in there. So on the drive home, they were telling me how they stopped by the house, and when they got to the house, that the door was wide open and the lights were on, and they went in. And Chantel said nobody was there, but she seen the phone blinking, and she remembers from when she lived with us before that when the phone was blinking, that meant there was a voicemail, and she said something told her to check that voicemail. And that's when she checked it, and voila, it was the police officer, and she called back. And thank God for that, because who knows how long I would have been there, and it was just torture sitting there and listening to my stepdad in that cell holding, yelling, and the cops talking about him, and it was just embarrassing, so I wanted to get out of there. So they took me home, and of course nobody was there. My mom wasn't there, and she didn't get home till about 2 days later. Yes, I was stuck in the house by myself, 14 years old, no food, no nothing, for 2 days. So she didn't get home till about 2 days later, and when she got home, I had told her what happened. She's like, oh my God, well, we got to get him out, we got to do this. She didn't even care or ask me how I was or what I've been doing or anything like that. Like, yeah, hey, you're 14 years old, I left you home, whatever. You could take care of yourself, which I did, but anyways. So she's like, we got to bail him out, I don't have any money, blah, blah, blah. So she seen that I had all the cartons of cigarettes. This woman had me go down to the grocery store and stand outside and sell cigarettes. And anybody knows that that's illegal. But here I am, 14 years old, selling cigarettes so my mom could bail my stepdad out of jail. So I did do good though. I did sell about 3 cartons and made about $250 because in New York, cigarettes are really, really expensive. Most people smoke Newports, and for a pack of Newports, it's like $11. So, but back then they were a little cheaper, but not much, but whatever. So I get all the money, I take it home, and I'm like, hey, here, I made about 250 bucks. We could bail him out, because his bail was like 150 or something. What does she do? She takes the money and buys drugs, and she's gone for another 3 days. So in between the time the 3 days went, he ended up getting bailed out by his mom, and he came home about 2 days after I gave my mom the money. So I was only home for about 2 days by myself again. And he was asking where she was and stuff, and I told him what had happened, and he was like, oh, okay. Didn't even really care. Just went and left, and there I was again by myself. So that's a little bit of a story about how that happened, and I end up by myself. Just so you guys know, I took care of myself a lot of the time, and I was working an under the table job about 2 to 3 miles from my house, at a sub shop, making $80 a week. So that's how I tried to get my own food and do my own stuff and things like that. If you guys have watched previous videos, you'll know that there's a lot more to my story and how crazy I was and being 15 and trying to beat it myself. But like now, I'm 29. I'm gonna be, I don't even want to say it. I'm gonna be 30. I'm gonna be 21. I'm gonna be 30 on June 5th, which is about, today's May 1st, so a month and 4 days, or however you want to calculate that. I'm gonna be 30. I do have 3 beautiful children. We do have a family channel. I'll put that link down in the description so you can subscribe from there. But if you like my little story times, subscribe. Keep up with me. I love everybody. I want to share my story so that people know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can do whatever they want to do with their life, and they don't have to be a product of their environment. So I also do a lot of other things and stuff. And then on my family channel, we're called Six Functional, because every day is dysfunctional, because we're a totally dysfunctional family. And we do a lot of funny stuff and crazy stuff on there. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're going through some of the same stuff that I used to, comment down in the section below so I can hear your guys' story. And let me know what else you guys would like to know. I've been through it all. I'm telling you, I've been through it all. So make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you can get notifications when I put more videos out. And I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time.